Hello my friends, thanks for tuning in. I just wanted to let you guys know I got the concealer from Aldi. Yes, I was doing my grocery shopping over the weekend. I got all the ingredients to make chili and like toilet paper and dish soap, and then I'm like, oh, Aldi's got concealer. I must try it. You might remember, was it a couple years ago that they put out like the eyeshadow palettes? Several different takes on neutral palettes. They've got eyeshadow palettes again as well. Seems like a similar thing. I'll link below to the video I did on those. But this is my first time seeing a concealer. The brand is Lacura. I know a lot of people actually do enjoy the Lacura skincare that's carried at Aldi all the time, but this says bold cover concealer. I got the shade 2, so that's the second from the lightest shade. I actually put down that I wanted shade 1, and my Instacart shopper said they were out and he went for shade 2, and props to him because I really think this looks perfectly appropriate. That's the color tone we're working with. It obviously has the vibe, the shape, the size of a Tarte Shape Tape, but we're gonna see how it goes today and actually check in on it all day. You're gonna get my initial reaction to it putting it on, which is definitely not the whole story. We wanna see how it wears. And you know, even beyond this video, I'll continue to work with this product and see how it goes. But as for today, I'm going to take you through just the base routine so you can see where we started, where that concealer took us, and then I'll check in with the final look. But I'm going to use some Wet n Wild Bare Focus Tinted Hydrator today. This is in the shade Light. This is kind of a light to medium coverage product. I'd say I get medium out of it most of the time, but I wanted something that wasn't too strong so the concealer could really, you know, do some work. I've got a little pearl-sized amount of this, and I'll just dab it all over and blend it in. It's kind of refreshing to get on here and have the focus of the video be just one product after doing the Emily Awards and talking about dozens and dozens of things. Oh man, what a project. Very fulfilling though. I really enjoyed doing it. It was a great Emily Awards this year. I felt like the participation from you all with your holiday traditions was great. You may have noticed sometimes I had to fill in the blanks with members of my own family due to not everybody turning in a video, but that's okay. You know, we just roll with it. I work with what I got. I was a little worried on one of the videos though. I thought I was gonna have to just have the kittens lay down and voice over that they were grateful for extra wet food on Christmas or something. So here we are. This did about what I wanted it to do. It evened out my skin. It definitely added some moisture and radiance to my skin, but I can still see redness around my nose that I want to cover. I can still see darkness around my under eye that I want to cover. Aldi concealer. The cost on this, by the way, was like $5.99. Right out of the gate, I'm getting a scent out of this that smells like, I don't know, like Suave shampoo or something. It's not incredibly strong, but it definitely caught me. It's kind of like a fresh, clean scent, which seems a little odd. But I'm gonna get a little dab of it right in here, a little bit out here. I'm just gonna do the standard amount that I'd use with like my Revlon Color Stay Flex wear. And I got a little blemish way out here on the side of my face too. I'm gonna do a little price check on Color Stay Flex wear. I know it's a little bit on the pricey side. Close to $10, $9.74 at Walmart, $10.49 at Target. So you're saving a few bucks by getting this. I'm gonna dab it in with my little double-ended TikTok Shop brush. I'm using the smaller end. I'm not going for the full blend. I'm just kind of moving that product around. The tone seems like absolute perfection. Thank you so much, Mr. Instacart shopper. You knew me better than I knew myself. Or you didn't have options, but thank you for landing on this. I'm sure he's watching. So far, so good. I'm not having any struggle with it. It feels like the blending process is a lot like any other concealer of this type, to be honest. Like, I'm not noticing a real difference in texture or like difficulty of blending. I'm just taking my larger end of my brush and dabbing right over everything I did. And hopefully feeling like we're fully blended in here. Okay, here's what it looks like freshly blended. I feel like it's done pretty well. My initial reaction says maybe it's just a little lighter coverage than the Revlon or like the e.l.f. Camo Concealer. Just a little less, but it's close. Again, I just did like a bigger dot and a smaller dot. I'm gonna give it just a couple minutes here to see like what it actually does in terms of a dry down. Is it gonna completely work toward a dry down? Is it gonna hold on to some moisture? So it's 5:16 right now. I'm gonna hang out and wait till 5:20 and see what this does. The claim on the packaging says it's a formula that blurs the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles. As it's set here, it hasn't gone to like a totally dry place, but it's a little less juicy feeling than when I first put it on. Feels less juicy than the rest of my face. It's definitely something I'd want to set. I do have some little fine lines under my eyes. I don't feel like this is completely masking anything. I really think when you put product on areas where there might be lines, we might have some color correction going on that's being helpful to you in that way, but I don't feel like it's taking away the look of the lines, especially when I smile. You know, you're gonna see that under any product, really. But yeah, takeaway right now is I feel like we have full coverage, but maybe not quite as strong as what I'm seeing out of Revlon or e.l.f., which would be a couple of my top 2 drugstore concealers. Not as much moisture as e.l.f. Camo Concealer, but more like the standard formula. I'm gonna take a little bit of Maybelline Fit Me Loose Powder in Fair just to set this. I'm just gonna do what I would tend to do with my other concealers, which is get a little bit of this powder on a pinky puff, and I'm just gonna dab over my under eye with that. It should provide a little added brightness, but it's gonna just, I think, help the product last. It's just not realistic for me to only put on the concealer and then try to go about my day. That's just not how it fits into my routine, if you know what I mean. So yes, I will set my T-zone as well. We also had concealer around our nose. I thought it did a fine job around the redness. No complaints there. So I just dab that on, and I get not a huge amount of powder, but enough to where maybe I do need to dust some away or blend some in. My goal with this is to feel set without feeling overly dry. So we're set on under eye and T-zone. I feel maybe just a little bit brighter than I did with the concealer there, but all in all, tone was perfect on that concealer. The shade 2 for me was really good. I'm gonna finish off the rest of my look. I'll show you how it turns out, and then we'll go throughout the day with some check-ins. And so here's my finished look. I'll let you know what else I did with my face. I used some powder products for complexion, just knowing I had this little blemish over here. I didn't want anything too dewy or glossy over the top, so I used my NYX Buttermilk bronzer. This is in the shade Deserve Butter. I got my Infallible blush in Daring Rosewood. It's a really pretty earthy blush. And then my highlight is the Revlon Skin Lights in Daybreak Glimmer. So I've just got that really confined to the top of the cheek here, a little bit on the forehead. For my eye look today, I'm wearing my Huda Icy Nude palette. I set things up in the crease with like this matte and this one. I put some of this on the outer lid, blended some of this shade really into the depths of the outer corner, and then my shimmer on the lid is this kind of rose gold looking one right there. So that's that shadow look. I love the way that came together. A little bit of liner on the upper lash line, but I used a shadow stick for it, so that's Brown Abyss from L'Oreal. Wet n Wild So Defined mascara. It's a very upper eye focused eye look, really nothing going on the lower lash line. And then on my lips, I put on my Buxom Powerline lip liner. This is Savvy Sienna, so that's the overall color. And then it got a little more berry tone to it with my So Juicy gloss from ColourPop in Beverly Drive. So that's a sheer berry. So that is where we're gonna leave things for now. As far as how my under eye is looking now after the duration of doing the rest of that look, I feel like it's looking pretty good. I'm still coming away thinking, and I was really thinking this as I was looking up close at my face doing the eye makeup, I feel like it's just a little less coverage than I could get out of some of my other favorites. I'm thinking Dermablend, I'm thinking Revlon Flexwear, I'm thinking e.l.f. I wear makeup every single day. I'm very familiar with those products, and you might say, well, Em, just use a little more of this Lacura stuff and maybe you would see more coverage, but there's a willingness to only go so far because I don't want it to look too thick on my under eye area. I'm a big believer in not too much concealer. And right now, from a texture standpoint, it's doing okay for me. And I think I look brightened at the under eye at a glance, but if I really hone in on some stuff, I can kind of see like, it might not be doing everything my favorites are doing. But we will keep an eye on this. I'm going to be checking in on it every 3 hours for the next 12 hours. And yeah, we'll see how things go. Thank you all so much for watching this so far, and I will see you soon. Hey guys, so it is like the rainiest day ever. It's looking pretty dark and cloudy out the window. It's just about 9 o'clock right now. I got home about half an hour ago from dropping Rhett off at pre-K. It was such a downpour. I did get my face pretty well rained on, and I'm shocked at how even everything still looks. I had an umbrella for the bulk of things, but there were still some moments where it was just coming down hard and like sideways. My pants are still wet, but this concealer is still looking every bit as good as it did when I started. I might have a little smudge there of eye makeup. No, not really. The whole face is hanging in there so much better than expected, given the fact that I got really wet. So I don't know, maybe that extra moisture in the air is helping me, but things are doing really well so far 3 hours in. I was just singing Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, and Uga goes, Mommy, stop singing. I thought I was doing a good job. We're at 6 hours and we're checking in on the look. I can see even more clearly with a mirror in front of me here. I feel like things are actually hanging in there quite well. I got rained on yet another time going to pick him up. Honestly, I feel like the complexion looks just as fresh as it did at my last check-in. Looking up really close, like on this under eye, I can see just, you know, a few little fine lines, but yet the product doesn't seem thick at all in those areas. So I'm okay with things right now. Going through half the day, I mean, my overall complexion seems pretty fresh looking also. I've come to expect that with the Bare Focus Tinted Hydrator. So yeah, so far so good. 6 hours. I pick Wisdom. Technology. Well, choose Wisdom, Technology, and Rainbows. Yes. Having a conversation with Biddy. And we're checking the staying power here. It's actually kind of warmish outside. It's in the 60s. My skin looks maybe just a little bit dewy, but it's not really dewy to the touch. Under eye going strong, going very strong. Like I know I am concealed in other areas, and those areas frankly are holding up too, but it's the under eye that's kind of the make it or break it area for me. And I just am not seeing any problematic stuff going on. So I'm feeling good about this still. Biddy, do you have any comments to make?
My daddy got me a new calculator.
She's got a new calculator. And this,
by the way, I have the power of rainbows. Rainbows really help you.
That concludes our 3 p.m. update. Thank
Bye.
you. So we're now at the 12-hour mark, and we're checking in on the staying power. I'm looking up close in my own mirror here, and I feel like that concealer did a darn good job today. I'm not seeing like a lot of dryness. The weather also may have worked in this product's favor because it was a little more humid. There was more moisture in the air today. It wasn't as cold, but it just looks pretty fresh and even. As you can see, my hair, you know, is in trouble. I have no lip color on much anymore. The eyeshadow's fading a little bit, but the complexion still is going fairly strong, and I think the areas I concealed are doing pretty good. The nose, I can tell maybe a little wear down at the tip of the nose, but I did catch myself touching my face earlier on in the evening. But yeah, for the price here, we're talking a $5.99 concealer that's doing a really good job. It's definitely approaching the coverage of Revlon and e.l.f., like I said, and therefore approaching the coverage of something like a Tarte Shape Tape, but wearing really well. And I feel like one of the things that keeps it wearing well is not putting on too thick of an amount, because I'm sure it would be a different story if I layered on too much, but I'm definitely going to keep using this one. The scent of it was a little concerning, not that it smelled bad, but just that it had a scent at all. Hi there. But I would have to say I'm rather impressed that something from Aldi, just this random Aldi concealer, did a really nice job for me today. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope this review was helpful, and I'll see you again in my next video.
Bye.
Bye.